Future of Work series. We are excited to have you with us again. Many of you have been part of some or most of the past 6 years of our summits on Future of Work here at Stanford University, and this year it is virtual due to pandemic. I'm thrilled to introduce you an industry icon and a top visionary in the tech world, Jeetu Patel, SVP and GM at Cisco. When I first met Jeetu many years back, he was Chief Product Officer at Box prior to joining Cisco. We announced integration at that time for Box with Edcast, and now we're excited about looking at the future of work and how Webex Edcast partnership can help you, our customers, transform beyond 2021. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome Jeetu Patel. Let's make it interactive and post your questions in the chat box. We'll get to them right after a few questions from me. Welcome, Jeetu. Thank you for your time. I know you are busy running a global multi-billion dollars business with an ambitious growth plan that you're driving, especially in the future of work. I have had the privilege to know you, to learn from your personal journey, and to stay inspired by watching your work. Let our participants hear a bit about your journey. Maybe they'll get to know you a little bit more up and personal. And tell us what drives you to lead with so much passion and energy every single day. Where do you see the future?
You're being far too kind. So thank you once again for having me on the show. I think it's great to see you again, and it's great to be here with everyone. Just by way of background, I grew up in India, in Bombay, moved over here in 91, went to undergrad in Chicago. So Chicago is, I consider Chicago my hometown. And from Chicago, I ran a business over there called DocuLabs for the first 17 years of my career, then joined EMC. So I've actually had the reverse trajectory. Most people start with big companies and then go to do a startup. I started in a startup and then went to a big company. And joined EMC, where we built the first SaaS business at EMC, then joined Box right after, and worked with Aaron for about 5 years over there. And what a great company, and they recently had a lot of success. KKR just made an investment in them of $500 million, so congratulations to Aaron and the team. And then I joined Cisco about 8 months ago. And it's been, what a ride it's been. It's been a great privilege to be here. Yesterday, we just got, named as the best place to work.
Congratulations. That's amazing. Yeah.
It's truly a privilege to be here. And I'd say, look, I have a very simple philosophy in life, which is build great products that people love, and the rest usually takes care of itself. And so, you just focus on building great experiences that people love, that they can tell their friends and family about, and everything else kind of originates from there. And so, that's kind of the core philosophy. It's that simple.
Well, that's really well summarized in a simple philosophy. And maybe tell us a little bit about where you see the future going in terms of the world of work.
It's interesting. If you think about the past 12 months, like 12 months ago, we embarked on unknowingly probably the largest experiment the world has ever run with working from home. And it was interesting because everyone was working one day in the office, and then we just flipped over and everyone started working from home. And I think we surprised ourselves as a species, saying, wow, on how much we were able to just be resilient and push through. If you look at the last, dozen years or so, I'd say I'm so proud of all the, IT folks that helped their companies actually not just survive, but thrive during this. And if you would have asked anyone, hey, is there we're going to start this experiment, everyone's going to work from home for the next 12 months. Do you think there's going to be economic growth or shrinkage? Everyone would have said that there's going to be economic shrinkage. And in fact, we've enjoyed economic growth throughout the world. And so that was great. But now I think there's going to be yet another change that's going to happen, which is people are going to start, going into this. The future of work is definitively going to be hybrid. And what do I mean by that? I mean that sometimes people are going to work from home, sometimes people are going to work from the office, sometimes somewhere in the middle. And as you have that kind of mixed mode of working, it'll be a new set of challenges that we'll all have to make sure that we are facing. But what you want to keep in mind is, can you create a level playing field for everyone so that regardless of where, you've got about 3 billion digital workers on the planet, regardless of where they are, what geography, what language they speak, what kind of personality type they have, are they introverts or extroverts, are they proficient with technology or not, we should be able to allow people to participate evenly in a global economy. And so we feel like these technologies that all of us are working on make a huge, huge impact on making that happen. So super excited about the possibilities of what we'll see moving forward as it pertains to the future of work being hybrid. And we're very fortunate at Cisco that we've got a combination of both hardware and software that are fusing together to build these magical experiences for people that they can, regardless of where they're working, they can actually just make sure that they're talking to someone. I'll give you an example. I've joined Cisco 8 months ago. I've met my boss Chuck twice in those 8 months, and physically, but I talk to him every day.
Yeah.
And I haven't met most of my peers. I met them one time when we were doing a video shoot for our Cisco Live event 2 weeks ago. But I haven't even met all of the peers that sit on Chuck's leadership team yet. And it's just remarkable because some of these people have become my good friends and we've never met in person. And, you and I haven't seen each other in a long time.
Yeah.
A couple of years now. And so it's just like, it's one of those things where you start to find that there's just an amazing power to this kind of virtual technology where anyone from anywhere can start to participate. And so it's a pretty exciting future that at least we are imagining moving forward.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I love. I think what you're saying about the world is gonna be world of work is gonna be hybrid, and I totally see that starting to happen, and you're absolutely right that it will bring a new set of challenges. But at the same time, I think your point about the level playing field is, I think, more important than ever, because if there's one thing that this digital working has taught us is it's actually helped in the past 12 months, as you pointed out your personal experience, and we've seen it, that it's really actually helped to create a more level playing field. Being close to the headquarters, like in, people who come to Mountain View, for in our case, our office, does not have any more advantage over the people who are not in Mountain View.
Yeah. And by the way, that might seem like a tactical thing. There is a profound implication of that when you take it to a larger scale.
Yeah.
Because if geography doesn't matter, then people can participate from anywhere, and you can source talent from anywhere.
Yes.
And there's probably not a single larger contributor to global GDP than fundamentally changing the dynamics of the future of work, where people can participate from to get a job done. Literally just went fully global, fully virtualized.
That's great. And I know you are very passionate about inclusiveness, and I think we are also seeing that we are going to see probably more gender balance and more women in the workforce, because you don't have to be, just because you're stay at home doesn't mean that you can go out of the workforce, right? So now it's really helped us to see that everybody can participate and work, even if you're stay at home. So no, that's amazing. And I know you guys, Cisco has been at the forefront from the very beginning. I mean, we used to use your big, those big video conferencing presence. So you guys have been on the forefront. WebEx has been around for a long time. People know the brand. But you are completely reinvigorating and transforming that. So tell us a bit about the WebEx, the new WebEx vision, the brand, the where you're taking it overall.
Yeah, so we're pretty excited, firstly, about the opportunity of being able to connect 3 billion people, from to work from anywhere. And I think if you think about WebEx in general, our goal over here is making sure that it's not just about doing synchronous communication like what you and I are doing right now, but a blend of sync along with async communication, because if you really think about what's happening from a global standpoint, you know, if geography is no longer a barrier, then the barrier becomes time zones, because how many hours in a day do you have that overlap between someone who is in India and someone who is in Silicon Valley? And so when you start looking at people in multiple different time zones, you might have like an hour and a half of overlap, not an 8-hour overlap. And that hour and a half of overlap is if you work a 12-hour day. And so what you fundamentally have to reimagine is you can't just rely on synchronous communication all the time. You have to make sure that that's augmented with asynchronous communication. In fact, to some degree, asynchronous is going to take the lion's share of your communication if you want to do it. If you know, that might be one state that you're in. And so what do you do before a meeting? What do you do during a meeting? And what do you also do after a meeting is pretty important. And not everything needs to be synchronous. Your preparation can be async. Your follow-ups can be async. The async can happen both from a video standpoint or from a messaging standpoint, and pulling it all together in a cohesive experience so that people don't have to keep thinking about the medium, but that's just kind of natural in the flow of things. So that's one pretty important area that we are going to be innovating in quite a bit. The second area is around this whole notion of, you know, spontaneous communication versus planned communication. I think we've done a really good job in the planned communication era. So you and I have a meeting scheduled. That's when we're sitting down and talking. That works pretty well. What do you do when things have to be spontaneous, where we just want to huddle up with the team and make sure that we can actually exchange some ideas? That spontaneous communication is the other area that we're trying to make it more serendipitous rather than just very planned where you have back-to-back meetings all the time. And then the third area is where you folks are doing some great work. This whole notion of enhancing the experience for both employees and for customers, right? So on the employee experience side, one of the things that we found that's tremendously useful is this notion of, I've got a set of ways that I want to provide guidance and insights to employees. To say, hey, what exactly am I, can I use the system as a coach for me? And so one of the things that we've had is we have this technology called Webex Graph, and then on top of that, we build out a lot of capability, and we've got a set of APIs that allow us to really think about, like, if I need to provide some insight to Carl or to Jeetu, it'd be really nice for the system to provide me insight saying, hey, Jeetu, in the past 2 days, you've had 17 meetings, but you've been late to 14 of the 17 meetings. You might want to think about being more respectful for the people. That's great insight for me to have. Is actually not the insight for my boss to have. I don't want Chuck to have. And so how do we honor people's privacy as we're doing that? So that's an area that we made some huge announcements the past couple of weeks around people insights, which are going to be personal or team or even beyond that. And then lastly, what I'd say is it would be pretty arrogant of us to believe that all the good ideas of innovation are going to come just from us. And in fact, the partnership that Edcast and us have is an example of this, where, look, the thing is, you folks are doing some very interesting work in this whole area of learning and kind of learning management and employee experience. And we are a platform. And we want to make sure that we make that platform available to the ecosystem. So regardless of the application that the customer wants to use, they can actually interoperate with Webex. The partnership that we have with you is just an example of how we're going to continue to promote an ecosystem of vendors coming together to solve problems for customers and just interoperate with each other. Those are some kind of examples of where innovation will happen. And then I think as you go into back to the workplace, how do people in this mixed mode work more effectively will be really, really important that we actually crack that code. I think it's going to be, frankly, more challenging to work in that mode than it was in just everyone being at home, because they want to create a level playing field.
Cool. That's a very inspiring vision. and how you're taking your product already. I'm seeing we are a big user of WebEx. We've been a big customer of, I mean, not a big customer, sorry. We've been a loyal customer of WebEx, I would say. And we've seen the transformation already in the past few years, and especially in the past 6 to 8 months since you've been there, seeing now that it's not no longer just a meeting platform, but it's becoming a whole digital workspace. And as you said about the whole employee experience, so that my employees can just spend time in WebEx and can get pretty much their every work that their work gets done right inside WebEx, and they're not looking at 50 different places to go to. So kudos to you and your team.
Those other places, Carl, it's important that we also make sure that WebEx manifests in those places, right? So for example, if you're using Salesforce, we want to make sure that the WebEx experience can be available in Salesforce as well. So that bi-directional component is pretty important, because not always will people want to work in WebEx. Sometimes they'll want to work from someplace else, and you want to make sure that you're great there as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That absolutely makes sense. And yeah, you've done already. You guys are always part of this whole openness and developer friendly and open ecosystem. Cisco is well known for it. So thanks to you guys, and our team was able to build an amazing app in very short period of time. So it's another endorsement for your developer friendliness. So thank you for that. So let's take a few questions from the audience here and look at the chat box here. So the first question is, Jitu, it's asking, what challenges do you expect enterprises to face post-pandemic in 2021? You refer to some things about how it'll be challenging, even when we get back to work. Can you elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, let me give you a very specific example where, firstly, the level playing field is going to be really important, so that no one feels like a second-class citizen, right? And so imagine if there were 4 of you in the office in a conference room and 3 people that were remote. How is that experience going to be different than if all of us were remote? Well, the 4 people shouldn't have an upper hand in that scenario. And so what kind of things can you do to make sure that even though there are 4 people in the conference and 3 remote, that you provide an equal, kind of playing field? I think what you folks are doing is really, really important, which is, in learning and development, as people are in different parts of the world, can you provide everyone an equal opportunity to get onboarded in the right way? Can you get everyone trained and, kind of feeling integrated into the business in the right way? And we make so many acquisitions as a company. We make so many kind of, there's new employees coming in all the time. There's 75,000 employees. There's 75,000 contractors. It's like 150,000 people. You're constantly wanting to train new people on new products and new ideas that are going on. And so platforms like the ones that you folks are building are very important for this world in general, to make sure that you can level the playing field. My point over there was, when you have these kind of mixed mode situations, we will have to think long and hard about how those scenarios don't create an unevenness, and the geography doesn't become a disadvantage. So that example I gave you, 4 people in a conference room, 3 people otherwise, we built a technology, for example, called camera intelligence, where if you're 4 people in a conference room, the camera will detect there are 4 people in a conference room, automatically zoom into each one, and each one of you will have a box, and then there'll be 3 people that will also have a box. You will see 7 boxes rather than seeing one box with 4 people. And why is that important? Because the people that are remote, they want to be able to see someone's facial expressions. They want to be able to see someone's body language. You don't want them to feel like they are not a part of the, the conversation. They're observing it from the outside, which is frankly how people felt when they were remote pre-pandemic. I think pandemic changed everything, but that was only because all of us were on a level playing field. When we started coming back together, you have to make sure that that doesn't get distorted.
Yeah. No, absolutely, and that's amazing. I mean, you're really taking inclusiveness to its to the best, and giving that advantage to remote people the same as people are in the office. And also, I saw your innovation about real-time translation. I mean, that's amazing from a inclusiveness as well, because people can understand what's going on in their own language. So these are some really, really good technological innovations that are coming, which is
That team
really good
did
for
a
everyone.
fantastic job. They, we started thinking we would probably deliver like 15 languages that you can do real-time transcription with. We now have 108 different languages
Oh
that
my
you can.
God, 108. Wow.
Yeah, it's that's from English to 108 different languages that you can have real-time transcription. You have closed captioning for hearing impaired people, and
Wow.
then what you'll also be able to do is we'll have close to 70 languages that you'll be able to speak and have it be real-time transcribed. And so the vision over there is 5 people in speaking different languages can all communicate with each other, and language no longer becomes a barrier. Geography is no longer a barrier. Technical proficiency is no longer a barrier. These are like meaningful advancements in society when you can make these things happen.
Yeah, yeah. No, these are amazing. They're really, I think I'm feeling that the things we are able to do in the digital world is actually better sometimes than in the physical world because even the emotions, right? Like you're able to give a awesome and applause and all those other emotions. It's people are clicking on those buttons more than you would otherwise sitting in the room because it kind of feels weird, keep applauding or awesome, but it's okay digital, and I think people need that kind of validation or whatever level of feedback which digital is providing even better than physical, right?
Yeah, I
do,
think
do you
one of the things that's important on that dimension is,
yeah,
you don't want to have the virtual be just as good as the physical. You want to make sure that when you are virtual for certain scenarios, virtual is going to be 10x better than physical.
wow,
And then when you're physical, you can make the physical 10x better as a result of also incorporating this technology so that the mixed mode gets better. So we actually don't think of this as we want to get to be as good as physical. We think of when you're virtual, you should be able to get 10x better. And so examples like you can record a conversation, you can share the recording of someone else, you can transcribe a conversation, so you don't have to take notes. Those are all advantages that you could just have in a virtual setting that sometimes in a physical setting you can't have.
yeah. So do you think, let's say just from a people and a human standpoint, are they going to find it harder or easier to go back to work, even in the hybrid environment? And like what kind of the human aspect about bringing them back to work needs to be considered?
Look, I think the mixed mode is going to be harder than the work from home or work from the office as a solitary mode. So I think we will all have to learn on
Yeah,
what kind of inefficiencies will be created and what kind of inequalities, and you have to be relentless about making sure that those get um, taken care of through technological innovation. Because if you don't, and if geography once again becomes an advantage, then we will have not taken advantage of, every crisis. There's an opportunity to go out and make sure that you can shift humanity to a better place. And look, Carl, I think you are from India. Both of us are immigrants in this country,
yeah,
and we've been very fortunate that we've actually come here and had enjoyed a great life,
yeah,
and the success you've had, and I've been very fortunate. But it would have been very different for me, at least, had I not made it here. Like,
yeah,
I would have not had the same availing of opportunity if I were where I grew up.
yeah,
I would like for the next generation for that not to be the case, where they don't have to make it to a specific location so that they can have all the opportunity in life. And so that is a fantastic thing that we should all try to strive for. And I think it can only happen when it becomes completely, like location does not become a barrier. And right
yeah.
now,
No,
location is a huge barrier, huge
yes.
barrier.
You're absolutely right. And I mean, we always say, right, that talent has no zip code. It's evenly distributed. And I think this your technologies will help to democratize opportunities because you're absolutely right. 25 years back, if I had wanted an opportunity, the only place I had to come is to America, right? And I like your vision that for the next generation, or even from people from now on, if we can build this amazing technology that you have, we don't have to make it, opportunities should not be located in a particular zip code. We can democratize it. So I love your vision. That's really very inclusive and can really change the world, because we can really make a big difference in the bottom of the pyramid, or people who are living anywhere. So with that, thank you once again, Jeetu, for your time, and these were fantastic insights. We look forward to bringing you back again wherever you get time. And congratulations to you and your team for building an amazing product and all the innovations that we are seeing from Cisco Webex. We continue to remain a big fan, a big customer, as well as a partner. And we look forward to transforming the employee experience from hire to retire and onboarding to offboarding with the Edcast app inside Webex.
So we're excited to partner with you folks. I think your team's done a great job, and we're excited to host your app in the App Hub. And I think we're just getting started. So appreciate you and your team's effort and diligence and the support that you provided to Webex as well. And thank you to both our mutual customers for using the technology to make the world better.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thanks to all our common customers and everyone in the audience. Please do check out Webex with Edcast. We'll have a separate session for a demo for that, which we just got the app listed yesterday. So thanks, everyone. And I'm going to hand it back to Tiffany to invite our next speaker. Thank you.
Take care.
Welcome to Edcast, a revolutionary employee experience EX platform offering knowledge, content, and learning in the flow of work. Edcast helps organizations build a full talent experience across the entire employee lifecycle, from pre-boarding to upskilling and offboarding. The problem isn't lack of resources, it's information overload. Edcast brings the exact learning to you wherever you are, right when you need it, from the best sources available. The Edcast integration transforms Cisco Webex into a full employee experience platform that is data-driven, AI-powered, and skill-based. Everyone can access learning and training without leaving Cisco Webex, consistently building skills without leaving the place collaboration happens. Cisco Webex. With Coach Eddie, a personal learning assistant, your employees can stay on track with unified search and today's insights. Better yet, all of this learning is targeted and personalized based on the employee's goals. In today's remote work environment, it's more important than ever for managers to keep their teams sharp, which is why Edcast creates collaborative, expert-based, and AI-powered learning opportunities in channels. Managers can even assign content to their reports, streamlining the learning process. With Edcast and Cisco Webex, content and collaboration come together to boost productivity. That's a look at Edcast for Cisco Webex today. We envision removing all the friction with Edcast as the central aggregator of content sources inside Cisco Webex. With a deeper integration, Edcast can turbocharge the employee experience in Cisco Webex. With a dedicated EX tab putting growth front and center, employees get easy access to subject matter experts, internal content, external resources, and more. With Edcast as the experience layer for learning and human capital management, Webex becomes the central digital workspace for your employees. More important, you can also improve your customer experience, or CX, by offering Edcast insights in your external meetings. As work becomes more distributed, connection is becoming more and more important. Timely insights at the right time to the right person can be that connection, and Edcast is excited to power this transformation, making knowledge, experts, and learning more accessible and powerful, one employee at a time.